Financial wellness. Reach out to them for advice at 855-DON-GINO. And now back to your hosts, Don Getling and Gino Franti.
Thank you for joining us on the Don and Gino Real Estate and Finance Show, right here in your hometown station, AM 1220 KHTS. And this is the final segment, so you want to pay attention because this is the best segment of the day, because we have what you need to know about college planning, what's important, and timing. So we were here earlier with a great first half of the show with Nicole Stinson, one of the premier real estate professionals in town, giving you some great tips of what you need to know about being accountable, being a great person, meaning not putting the dollars first, putting you first. And that's her motto. You go to her Facebook page, Nicole Stinson, I'm telling you, you will see that she's a genuine soul. She's a great person, and she does a great job for her clients. We love working with her. And I say that because we always want you to be working with true professionals, and we are lined up with some great ones. That's all we work with.
Some people are really good at their jobs, and they're not always great people in this world.
Yes.
So it's nice when you get, working with somebody that's both.
All we work with. It's required by law. If you're working with either on the Don and Gino Real Estate and Finance Show now for over 5 years, or with Skyline Home Loans, you have to be a great person. And Robert Schwartz is a great person that loves what he does.
That's true, and I appreciate that. That's high praise, and it does mean a lot to me. I do my very best to work with professionals, but also great people who work within their communities, who give back to their communities, who care about their communities. And I know both of you definitely qualify in that category.
Well, thank you very much. So we promise you some great nuggets. And one of the things that when I'm talking to Rob, when you're thinking about your child or your grandchild going potentially, even if it's potentially going to college, you need to speak to Rob. But timing is everything. We just had Nicole in. She's like, oh my gosh, I got to talk to Rob for my child. And she goes up to you and goes, well, they're starting 11th grade. Is that too early?
And I had to break the news and say, actually, you're almost too late. For most of the families who we meet with, we want to try to get to them in the 10th grade. There is a compelling reason for this.
So you still have a chance, Gino.
And 2 gold stars.
He's been waiting.
Well, you're back to parity because you both lost 2 stars.
I did that for you, Rob.
I appreciate that.
He has your back. He has your back.
Hey, I love you both. You know that. Here's the real important thing families need to walk away with, especially here in the Santa Clarita Valley, which is it's such a tight community, but it also sometimes loses its perspective on what's going on around them.
That's true.
In many different ways.
In the bubble.
Our little bubble.
Our bubble is significant, and when it comes to college planning, there's not a lot of voices inside this bubble who are trying to express just how important 10th grade is in this process. Not just because all the grades count, not just because it fuels 11th grade classes, which are the most important classes you're going to take. Not only because this is where you're going to start developing great relationships with your faculty, not only because you're going to start building these important extracurricular activities, not only because you're going to take your first effective PSAT and figure out which your strengths and weaknesses are between SAT and ACT moving forward, but just so you can wrap your head around the complexity of the problem, you need to start early. And so many families just don't.
So that's why it's called Premier College Guidance, and that's why it's called college planning. It's not called college applying.
That's correct. And you get your 2 stars back.
Nicely done.
That's a dead honest truth.
Yeah.
And so many times, and I still have families on a regular basis, not just here in Santa Clarita, but literally all over the state of California, who will come to me in August of the senior year saying it's time to get started.
Well, you've been on the show many a times, and if you go to donandgino.com and click on our YouTube channel and click on college planning, Robert Schwartz, you will find a plethora of great videos talking about all kinds of things, such as ACT versus, which test is right, how to prepare for the essay. But the main thing
how to write an essay. Yeah, we did that. What extracurricular activities are important? I can't tell you how many awesome shows we've had. It's been fantastic.
Absolutely. And the main thing, Rob, that you've brought to our show over and over and over, and this is why we have the show, honestly, because this is any category, is you don't know what you don't know. And when you come out and you start talking about all these factors, I wish I would have known when I was trying to choose a college, and I went to Cal State Northridge, very convenient, great academic school of finance and all that. But I wish I would have known other options. And you present them excuse me, you present them all the time. In fact, you've even visited multiple schools, and you can honestly talk about the values of each school and what school's right for somebody.
That's the most important thing. I was literally just jotting down a list a day or two ago of how many schools I visited in the past 3 years. There's 23 schools I've personally visited. So there's large public schools, medium-sized public and private schools, small private schools, and I was drawn back to this large public school category. And I'll tell you, the schools I've visited, Oregon State, 6 UC schools, Cal Poly San Luis Obispo, USC, University of Virginia. Here's what I walked away with. They're all great. They all have over 100 majors to offer you. They all have terrific students. They're all difficult to get into. They're all highly ranked schools. So what? That's actually what I came to the conclusion of. So does it really matter if you go to Oregon versus UC Santa Barbara versus USC versus University of Virginia? Well, yeah, it matters a little. But more importantly, why do you, the student, fit that environment the best?
That's
So
key.
I'll throw something out there that's total curveball because I'm far away from starting the planning process. But, I think about my daughter all the time, and she says, "Oh, Dad, I want to be in animation." And she's a great artist, and, mom's a great artist, grandma's a great artist, so it makes sense.
Yeah, it's in
and
the
I'm
blood.
like, well, I'm thinking to myself, well, the schools that I probably think are great schools are probably not great for an animator.
So you got Cal Arts right down the street.
Exactly.
That's the first thing I was going to say is Cal Arts is a preeminent program.
Right.
For animation.
Disney and that school are tied at the hip.
Right. A lot of it was started with Disney. I guess the head of Disney people in the animation department.
That's correct. And as you know, Pixar is directly tied to that organization as well.
But I'm just saying that's where somebody would go completely down the wrong thing, saying, no, I want you to go to my alma mater. I want you to go to UCLA. Well, why?
Well, and can you get a degree in animation from UCLA?
Who knows?
I don't believe so. But you could get something close. The question is why? And frankly, do you need the 4-year traditional college experience? Or are you looking for something that is more tangible and vocational in nature? They can both be right and they can both be wrong. It depends on the student. My job is to ask those types of questions, to understand your children in a way that they might not even understand themselves.
Well, then
You said the V word, and I think I heard this maybe like 2 interviews ago, and we didn't talk too much about it, but is there a trend now where there's actually some vocational schools that are starting to really tread water and start to do a little better?
Slowly but surely,
Yeah.
the V word is coming back into value, another V word.
Yeah.
I think vocational programs took a beating over the last decade, and I think people are starting to look at there are pockets within the blue-collar workforce that are badly underserved, and we need to fill those positions before people retire, and we don't have anyone to build cars or build bridges or things of that nature. And these are strong paying positions, great benefits, but no one has the technological know-how to connect to those jobs. So even though my job is let's find the right 4-year university to get you to go to, I by no means am going to force a kid to go down that road. There's plenty of kids who I will turn away and say, you know what, you're better off going to a vocational program. You are better off going to a community college, pushing the reset button, getting a little bit more maturity and a little bit more comfortability under your belt before you move forward.
Very convenient here in Santa Clarita having such a great JC program here.
no doubt.
COC is a cornerstone of this community, but I will also caution you that so many students find that is the normal path, that almost 2/3 of the William S. Hart School District goes directly to COC.
Wow.
I would wager that is too large of a figure, that there are plenty of highly qualified kids who would actually be better off going directly to the 4-year school.
All right, so we only have a minute left. One of the other factors that is key is I love that you ask the right questions to fit the student with the right college, whether it's location, it could be weather, it could be so many things, vocation, all that. The other piece of the pie that you can help with, that you've mentioned many a times and Trevor can help with, is how to pay for it. Maybe those schools aren't financially right for the family. Might be for the kid. I want to go to Cal. How are you going to pay for it? Maybe there's another option. You've always brought up other options where they get full rides out of state.
That's one of the great pieces of information that I hope you guys will continue to spread. This idea of paying out-of-state tuition is more expensive than staying in California. That is not necessarily the case. There are tons of schools that it's actually cheaper by tuition dollars. Then you factor in what does it cost to live in Utah or Kansas or Oklahoma or New Mexico. It's
Iowa.
a tiny fraction as to what it is here, which means the cost of doing business is actually much easier if you leave. And it doesn't mean you're going to sacrifice the quality of education.
Right. All right. So again, if you're even thinking about it, if you're especially as your child gets in the sophomore years, it's time to start talking to Robert Schwartz with Premier College Guidance. Again, how do they get a hold of you?
Call or email 818-359-3779 or email me. It's Rob, R-O-B, at premiercollegeguide.com.
Always great information, my friend.
Gentlemen,
Good stuff.
This is fun as always. Thank you.
All right. And thank you for joining our show again every Saturday, 9 a.m. to 10 a.m., right here on your hometown station, AM 1220 KHTS. Find out more by going to don&gino.com. A lot of great information on there. Also, the daily video blog, nrecafe.com. It's great information about the economy and real estate. And then lastly, if you want the best of the best professionals in all of Santa Cruz, go to America's Professional Resource Group, which is aprgi.com, aprgi.com. We're always reaching out to help you and guide you to personal and financial wellness.
I'm glad you covered all three of those because I wanted to make sure you didn't forget any of those things that we do, Don.
We work hard on them.
They all have the same goal, is to guide you to personal and financial wellness. So I'll leave you with that, and I'll just say, as we usually say every Saturday, be good humans.